pinto bean. He's a big white pinto bean. I love the dog named the Pinto Bean. Pinto Bean.
He slept through that whole thing.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Pretty good.
Excellent. The cocktail of the week this week, I just thought we should do the old-fashioned. We've never done an old-fashioned.
What?
I know. It's so easy. You put a sugar cube in a glass. You put a couple dashes of Angostura bitters on it. Just shake it on there a couple times. 2 ounces of bourbon or rye or whatever whiskey you want. Or if you're Wisconsin, you could do brandy old-fashioned. Use brandy instead. That's it. You put in like an orange, maybe cherry. Kind of smoosh it up a bit. You're done. That's
Old-fashioned.
That's it. It's a great drink to order. It's a great drink. It's easy drink to make. It's sweet. It's boozy. One year at Christmas, I had started making cocktails, and my brother apparently jokingly was like, "Make me an old fashioned." And I was like, "Okay." I mean, it's just whiskey.
What was he, 7?
I mean, no, he's only 2 years younger than me.
Oh,
I didn't even start drinking until I was like almost 30.
I know you're trying to catch up, but do it
I'm not
responsibly.
No. But anyway, he's like, "Yeah, make me an old fashioned," which I made him, and then it sort of came out that he was joking about it.
He didn't like it.
He took the first sip and he was like, "Oh, geez," and I was like, "It's just whiskey, like that's all it is, really.
Yeah.
A little bit of sugar in it. Anyway, it's a good drink."
It's giving me slight flashbacks, which I think is a memory, but it might be a fake memory of me getting the polio shot with a sugar cube.
You got a polio? Say more about this.
I think in school in Germany, when we were little, we got like a polio shot or a polio vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, 60s, 70s would have been school. Maybe it was Australia. Maybe it was when I was in Australia.
What does the sugar cube have to do with it?
They put it on a sugar cube because then it's like tastier for kids. You'd give it to kids.
So it's not a shot.
It's not a shot. As I recall, it's not a shot. It's an oral vaccine.
Interesting. I mean, I probably got such a polio vaccine as a kid. They still give them.
Are you sure it's not a sugar cube?
I don't know, man. I would not remember that.
I should research into myself.
All right. We'll report back next week. I'm sure someone will comment and tell us all about it.
Too late to call my parents.
Would they remember?
Maybe they'd say they would. They'd say they do.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody gets the polio vaccine, and this doesn't tell me anything else. Okay. Interesting.
Fair enough.
Before we get into dog updates, this is a complete digression, but hopefully an entertaining one.
From my digression, so I think you're good. You're in safe digression turf.
One of my Twitter friends, who's a screenwriter, because I've got all of them from that movie advising thing I do.
Yeah.
Retweeted another screenwriter who I'm not friends with, Amanda Debert. She's written for He-Man and Masters of the Universe. She writes comic books. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
She tweeted this. "I saw these on Facebook and laughed so hard as I was reading them that I started crying and became unintelligible." And it's like screenshots of like tweets and comments that people have posted on other things. And normally I'm like, this is the kind of bullshit that I hate on Facebook. And I was reading them just before we started podcasting when you were in the bedroom. And I had to like control myself to stop.
Is that when you guffawed? You guffawed.
Yes, I did. So I'm going to read you some of them.
All right.
This is the first one I laughed at. It's so lame to like laugh at your own jokes before you even tell them. They're not even my jokes. Okay. "When I was in court, I forgot what to call the judge and I accidentally called him Your Majesty. And he was like, 'What?' And I repeated it." I can just totally see this happening. Your Majesty. When I was testifying in court for the first time, I forgot what to call the judge.
Oh, no.
I just called him Sir as opposed to Your Honor. I was fetching.
Pretty good.
Digging for Your Honor.
In federal court, I think that's going to be okay.
This was Judge Ellis. He did not like me at all.
He didn't like you before, though. That was unrelated.
No, he didn't like the side that I was on.
He might not have liked your gender.
I mean, that could be true. That was an old dude. Anyway, I saw a girl carrying a hamster, so I asked if I could pet it, but it was actually a muffin. So I'm on my way to jump off a cliff now. It was a muffin.
leaves open the question whether he followed through and petted the muffin. I was like, that's what I meant. I meant to do that.
My most embarrassing moment. One time as a waitress, a guy asked me for extra mashed potatoes, and I replied, they're mashed as much as they can mash them.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
That sounds almost fake because that's a good one.
All right, let's see. I'm okay. I went to say medium meal. It hurts me. It's so funny. Oh.
This had better be good now. The expectations are going way up.
I feel like there's something in my brain today that's got me like a little on edge. Like I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before. So when my first husband and I got married, we got married in the summer of 2001 and then moved to DC. So it was right before September 11th. And we got a dog, and then September 11th happened, and he was a firefighter, so we were like going up to New York every weekend, and he was working up there. It was just and I had just started the PhD program. It was a very stressful point in my life, and we were so broke because he was not getting paid for anything.
He was a
couldn't keep a job.
volunteer firefighter.
Yeah, I mean, especially up in New York, right? Like the chaos of post 9/11 New York is, I don't know if it would happen today, but it's just like firefighters from literally around the world. Like our hotel, there was a French search and rescue dog team.
Wow.
They just flew over and showed up. Like they didn't ask anybody. They just showed up. And working at Ground Zero, firefighters from all over the country just showed up and started doing stuff. Like there was nobody in charge. There was no organization. You just showed up and did stuff.
Wow.
Anyway, it was, so he was not getting paid for that, and he couldn't hold a job. Whatever. It was a tough time in his life, too. So, like, I am a grad student trying to support us living in DC. It was very stressful. And then we got a new dog, and so we had just gotten, like, this tiny little car, I think right before we got married, and it did not fit easily, like two dogs going places. And so we traded it in for like a used Subaru station wagon, which I hated. It was a stick shift, which I'm sure I've bitched about.
Those are cool.
We'd go up to New York, and I know how to drive stick, but I don't like it. And he was like, I'm going to drive it. And then we'd get to like New Jersey, and then he'd be like, I'm really tired. And I'd fucking have to drive the Holland Tunnel in Manhattan. Oh, it
with
was
a stick. So
in
it's
a
all
stick,
start
like
and
always
stop.
like in the fucking rain.
So he did all the easy highway stuff, and then he'd be like, "Oh,
really
you got to
tired.
shift down below second now. It's your turn."
Oh my god! The
Yeah.
stoplights that I stalled at in Manhattan. It
Oh.
was terrible. Anyway, when we were buying that car, we were in the CarMax in like fucking Maryland somewhere, and somebody told a joke, and I kind of laughed at the joke and then broke down crying and couldn't stop, like really
Aw.
fell into hysterics. And I was like, oh, this is profoundly unhealthy what's happening to me here. But I
Because
had
he
no
hated the
control.
whole process so much.
Just
and- or
everything was too much,
Aw.
right? And
Yeah.
anyway, got a little feeling of that today. I went to say medium.
Wait, Facebook is doing this to you?
This stupid
Those
joke.
jerks.
This joke that I was not able to control myself over. It's not even that funny.
These jerks.
I went to say medium meal when reading out an order to a customer. All that came out was meep meep. And I didn't even, I did it again. I didn't even correct myself. I just stared.
Meep meep. All right, that's hilarious. It's Beaker.
Oh.
It's Beaker from the Muppets.
I can just feel like trying to say medium.
Meep, meep,
Just
meep, meep. Yeah, if you're
Oh,
not
my
paying
poor
attention,
brain.
that's going to come out. Meep meep is going to come out.
This next one's just as bad. I need to like be professional and get my composure here.
Oh.
I went to ask my customers how their food tasted and had a complete brain fart. So I just looked at them and went, I can't do it while I'm laughing. I just went,
That's not a word.
and rubbed my stomach.
I bet they were puzzled, somewhat puzzled and surprised. All right, I can imagine myself sitting at a table and the way the server comes up and goes, and rubs her stomach. And then you're just looking at them and going, what happened?
You gotta be like,
Yeah, well, I don't know the rules about mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's
right.
a good one.
Like literally tears on my face.
I mean, I think that's realistic that could happen. You got
Oh
a
my
lot
God.
of you got so much going on, and you're just thinking of 18 different things, and all of a sudden you're standing in front of the table, and you're supposed to ask, "How is everything?" And you're just like,
Oh, you're making it worse.
or better.
Oh, my mascara is gonna run. Okay.
It's a podcast. It's fine.
A stranger knocked on the bathroom stall I was in. I panicked. Oh, if I were on stage, this would be so embarrassing. I panicked because I forgot what to say.
Ah!
And ended up shouting, "Come back with a warrant." All right, we gotta stop this.
Come back with a warrant.
Oh, this is terrible podcasting.
All right. No, it's
It's
not.
just me cracking up at myself.
This is gritty. This is real.
Okay, I think that's about it.
Come
There's
back
some
with
other
a warrant is much more impressive than just making a sound like, "Ah! No, no."
I'm gonna try that next time. Blue Heaven, the restaurant we go to much that we're not going these days to avoid COVID. But they've only got like, I guess two. Each bathroom is like self-contained. There's 2 for women and 1 for men, and there's no way to tell if anybody's in there. So often people will try the door.
Sure.
And it locks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try just come back with a warrant next time somebody does that to me.
I don't think it's that unusual in Key West. They'll be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, let's see. I held the door open for a woman and she said, "Thank you." I tried to say you're welcome or not a problem, but my mouth said, "You're a problem." That one's not as funny, but it's still very funny. When I was 7, I went to sign up to the library, and the lady at the desk was filling out my form and asked name of the Father, and I said, "And Son and Holy Spirit." Okay, I think I'm done.
Oh,
with
good.
these that make me cry. Okay.
Cry with joy.
Oh, dear Lord.
Cry with something that isn't sadness.
Cry with something. No, they did not make me sad.
That's good.
Your Majesty. Next time you're in court, I want you to call the judge,
Your
Majesty.
I know.
And then she goes, "What?" And you're like, "Your Majesty."
I think it's worse for a lawyer to do that, frankly.
There was a lawyer. That's a tweet from a lawyer.
Oh, that sounds really sarcastic. That's why the judge snapped to attention.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry?
Your Holiness.
Oh, my God. All right.
Okay.
I've got my composure back pretty much.
That's good.
Let's do some dog updates.
Yeah. Anything administrative?
I don't think so. So for my Boston Marathon run, I've made enamel pins of guac with a medal.
They're very cool.
They're super cute.
Mm-hmm. I bought 4 already.
So I was trying to like get it all done, right? Like order them because like Christmas was coming up and I knew they wouldn't come in time for Christmas, but I was like, I got to get the order in. And when I had done the New York Marathon, like keychains, I think I had like 500 of them to ship. And so I was like, well, I'll order 1,000 of these pins. And I have to ship like 180. So I have like 800 extra guac enamel pins.
I mean, the good thing is they're small.
They are small. So those may come up for purchase to Golden Ratio fans.
Oh, speaking of which, I want to dispel the rumor that I'm anonymous on the CRI.
Oh, yeah. Somebody.
I did not donate $1,000 to CRI. I only give it to myself.
I had so the community rowing is the charity I'm raising money for the Boston Marathon. I had a $7,500 minimum goal is what they require.
Total, not individual donations.
Total. Yeah. And so if you donated $15, I'm sending you a guac pin. And so, yeah, I was at like $6,400. And then I got an anonymous $1,000 donation, which is super nice. I literally, it was anonymous. I have no idea who it came from, but everyone, so I tweeted, I was like, thanks everyone. Like, we met the goal because a couple people donated after that. And I was like, especially thanks to the anonymous person who gave $1,000. And everybody's like, is it to your dad? Did your dad give $1,000?
And it's not, although that's funny, but I only give to myself.
Yeah, you'd buy $1,000 of our merch.
I do. I buy 100 calendars.
Don't do that, please.
I know. Just to these pins, I'll probably buy 10 or 12.
You can just take a handful out of the box and
I've
go.
already ordered 7.
We have so many. All right, dog updates. The only real updates this week are related to Vood's foods, or rather, not Vood's foods.
The only interesting ones.
So, we got to keep everything like above shoulder height in the house, which is very difficult. And there's little things, like things exist below shoulder height.
He has also extended his reach a little bit.
He has.
I think he's realized he can stretch his neck.
Yeah. So the first thing he ate this week, a couple of our friends came over actually to get a guac pin, and I let all the dogs out, and I was trying to get the dogs back in the house. And I'm like, where the hell is Vood? And Vood was like under the gumbo limbo tree.
Facing away from you, no doubt.
Of course.
God, he's so sneaky.
With the brand new jug of Miracle Grow fertilizer, of which he has popped off the lid that Shiggy shakes it onto stuff. And there's just a pile of fertilizer in front of his face.
He's just licking it.
And he's eating the fertilizer. Fortunately, Miracle Grow Shake and Feed is non-toxic, and he actually didn't eat much of it. I think he'd probably just drag the thing over and popped it open.
He's been growing like crazy since then. It's been nuts. Maybe it is a bad thing.
Every single time we try to put any kind of fertilizer on our plants, the dogs eat it. We've tried the spikes, we've tried the liquid, we've tried the granules.
Yeah, he's dug out the spikes, the citrus spikes.
And it's not just him.
No, Remy is just as good at it, actually, frankly.
Man. So that was thing number one. And then
self-fertilization.
Yesterday we were working on a super secret project that hopefully you'll all get to see pretty soon. I will totally post all about it with much excitement when it's ready to go.
Don't ask Van because she'll spill the beans.
But you've noticed that the pictures from the last couple of days have not been at our house because I took them while doing the super secret project. Somewhere else. We went somewhere else to do a super secret project. And so we brought a ton of stuff with us. I mean, it was a driving distance super secret project. So we brought a ton of stuff with us, and I brought it back, and we had brought like some extra clothes, like some
and it's in the 60s, so I brought a sweatshirt.
Yeah, and so I had a box with whatever, tripods and cameras and our clothes in it, and I had put the clothes in the middle of the table out on the porch. Not on the edge of the table, in the middle specifically so Vood couldn't get it.
I mean, that's close to shoulder height. Right there. I mean, you're above waist height.
And I come back, I don't even know what I was doing, but I come in and Vood's is out on the porch, and I could just tell, like, by the position of his shoulders, he's doing something that
he's a sneaky man.
He is, and he's facing away. So I go up to him. Giardad's sweatshirt is on the ground. Vood's is chewing on the shoulder, and so I grab it. There's just like the sweatshirt in the shoulder in Vood's mouth, and I pull the entire arm of the sweatshirt out of Voodoo's throat. He had swallowed like a snake.
He started at the cuff.
He started at the arm.
He was at the shoulder, but from the first part, he was at the shoulder. He didn't start at the shoulder.
Gulp, nom nom gulp, nom nom gulp,
my God.
all the way up to the shoulder, trying to bite it off.
It's like a sword swallower. It's like a sword swallower. He had a whole frigging sleeve going into himself.
It was not in his mouth. It was in his throat. I'm literally like, bloop, 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 long sleeve sweatshirt, pulling the whole sleeve out of his throat.
I mean, that is, if I saw that, I would have thought CGI or that's a cartoon. There's no way he has these skills. He could be in the circus if he weren't so lazy.
Oh, and then when we were filming the super secret project, Vood's was like inside by himself.
Doo-doo-doo.
And I come in, where's Vood? And I see his back to me again, and he's in this bedroom, and he's chewing on something, and I go look, and he's got toilet paper, and the toilet paper extends 15 feet into the bathroom. So he went into the bathroom, started licking at the toilet paper, got the end, walked out. Yeah, the door half closed, and he's just chewing the toilet paper, and then he'd pull, get some more, chew the toilet, pull, get some more.
Yeah, so there's a 15-foot strip going to the toilet paper roll under the door to his mouth.
And he learned that this is a thing because today I watched him walk into our bathroom and stick his snoop on the toilet paper. And then I was like, no, get your snoop away from there. Because he's like, ooh, this is a fun thing.
Oh, no.
You were there for that.
Ugh,
You were standing in the bathroom.
folding something or
Probably. Yeah.
something.
Like
Oh, Voods, man.
God, that guy.
He's so good at being invisible when he does this, though. And then the turning away is like he knows what he's doing.
I know.
You're like, let me put my butt in here.
Somebody called us out on Twitter last week for like
Making
you
light
guys
of
are
it.
no, they were just like, you guys are irresponsible for leaving so many things so that food can get him, and like you're putting him in danger and you think it's funny. And I was like, look, like every single thing needs to be super high up and put away. Like it's impossible to live like that. And like we've talked to his neurologist, we've talked to his vet about it. This is a side effect of the phenobarbital. We try to cut it down and he has more seizures. It's not a thing that we can train out of him. Like it's a medical condition because of the medication that he's on. And we try so hard to keep everything out of reach, but it's very difficult to live in a house where like everything is like either instantly put away or stored on a level that's like above the reach of a pretty big golden retriever. So this is not to criticize the person. Like I understand how one can get the impression like, how the fuck does that dog get so many things if you know it's a problem?
Yeah, and we don't like it. I mean, it would be ideal if he didn't do it, but
Oh yeah.
since it's like, I mean, unpreventable given the number of dogs we have and the that we have a life, and we don't want to lock him away, right? The answer is what? Lock him in a room, lock him somewhere safe. But he did that, and
That was his life before we
we're
got
not
him.
doing that again. So
Yeah.
we have to balance it, and then you have a little bit of gallows humor about it. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy's. He's got a personality, but it's stressful for the surroundings.
When I had him in for acupuncture last week, and our vet was like, I think that cluster of seizures he had is unrelated to the fact that we were lowering his medicine, and so we should really try to do that again. And I was like, great, when your emergency clinic opens back up and we don't have to drive 6 hours round trip to Miami, then we'll try to lower his medication down again.
Fair.
So I would love to get his medication lower. He is a happier, perkier dog when he's on less medicine, but he always ends up having seizures after we do it. And maybe if we just stuck with it, he'd be fine.
What, after the seizures?
Like we lower the medication, maybe he has a seizure, but we just keep him on the lower dose and then he could be fine and stable, right? He was on a lower dose of phenobarbital for
Yeah, that's right.
9 months without having any seizures, right?
That's right. And what did the doctor say that surprised me? It was controlled epilepsy, having having a controlled condition is no more than one seizure a month, which is a lot. Like one seizure a month is still considered controlled epilepsy.
The problem with him is that he almost always has clusters of seizures.
Yeah.
And in fact, like the normal definition of when you need to hospitalize a dog for seizures is if they have 3. And our neurologist has lowered it to 2. If he has 2 seizures, you bring him in and hospitalize him because they know that. I mean, I think he's only once had a seizure that wasn't part of a cluster, that he just had one off.
Yeah.
Right. He always, a cluster is just where you have more than one within 24 hours. If he just had one seizure like that, I mean, the anxiety with him is that once he has one, you just know that there's more coming. And even before we got him, like looking through his records, that was a thing with him where he would have 5 in a day, or he'd have, one, and then 12 hours later he'd have another. But he was having them in clusters from as soon as they started. So it's a little trickier with him. Like if he just had one, my dog Kay had seizures. They weren't even that often. I mean, they were every 3 months maybe. And she just had one and then she was fine. And it didn't stress me out at all in the way that Voods do, because you just know he's going to have another one and it's bad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he eats stuff.
He does. We're working on it. He's still getting his acupuncture, which he seems to like very much. He's still taking his antibiotics for the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. That's a 30-day treatment. I would say he maybe seems a little perkier, but he's not walking any better.
No, that certainly has. He has occasional good days, but generally he's real shaky on that leg still.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah.
So we're trying, but it's hard. Like, he loves to go for walks. We take him for walks, and then the next day you can tell he's really wobbly, like he overdid it. So anyway, that's foods.
Yeah.
100% forfeited any opportunity to
Be low maintenance.
re-get the low maintenance dog of the week award.
Or the achievement, because eating not Vood's foods is not an achievement.
No.
We don't want to encourage that with a trophy.
We have renamed that trophy, by the way, first place dog.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it's hard to pin down an individual achievement.
Sometimes they don't achieve a goddamn thing.
Nobody's curing cancer here, you knuckleheads.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of achieving, but anyway, he's not getting first place dog either. He's absolutely last place dog this week. If you had to rank the dogs, he's in last place.
Yeah, well, it's a competitive field otherwise, though.
Yeah, we don't really have a lot of dog updates for everybody else. Remy is still transitioning his insulin. CB is still right now looking at us, begging for second dinner,
Yeah.
but overall doing okay.
He's still on his angel halo.
Yeah. Twice a day he's getting the electromagnetic pulse halo thing, which he doesn't mind. I don't know that I would say it's helped at all yet, but it's supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks, and I think this is like week 2. So he's wearing it with total, I don't know.
He's a star at sleeping with the thing on his head.
That's what he does. Yeah, no
Yeah.
protesting. Vink is the Vinky. She's on some antibiotics for another skin infection and is doing fine. It's healing up.
Yeah, she's her vanky little self.
Hops is doing great as always. Guac is doing great. Everybody's fine. Did I skip somebody?
No, Voods has lost weight. Vood is a good weight now. Brody is not on. Brody is reloady.
You look a little bit like a swollen tick, CB.
CB, the second dinner program for you is tough on your diet. Guac has been really good this week in terms of playing with Boods and playing with Remy and not being he's still a spaz sometimes, but he's trying to contribute.
That sounds like Guac is going to win low maintenance dog of the week.
He has my vote so far, but it's all conditional.
It's Wednesday, so we
That's
pick
right.
him on Friday, but I would say Guac is the front winner.
I mean, if he sets off illegal fireworks tomorrow or something, he probably will be disqualified.
Do you have any thoughts on first place dog?
I mean, I always
Who's
like
the
Hops.
best? I know.
Vink is
Guac and
pretty
Hops,
much
Guac and
the
Hops.
best too, though.
Vink has been kind of a jerk this week with all of her barking. She's got
guess.
such a terrible squeaky bark and is on edge, and then it sets off Remy. It's not a great dynamic. Speaking of,
this is going to be a good discussion. Yeah.
Remy is going up to see Michael, our trainer, hopefully
Maybe.
in about 10 days.
Mm.
We're just waiting to confirm it with him that it'll work with his schedule, but that's the plan. So GR Dad and I will be separated for like 2 weeks almost with how long it's going to be, but he's going to spend about 10 days.
I might have to bring the Guacaman too.
Oh, my guacamole.
I don't know. I don't know if I can split up Guacaman and Boods. That's a real tough. We'll have to. That'll be an interesting discussion. Not happening this week.
Yeah, I mean, you do whatever you want. That's fine.
Well, we'll have to weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah. Anyway, so that'll probably be like the weekend after next would be when you would drive up,
Yeah.
assuming that it works. And then GR Dad will be up there for a week and a half, and we're going to just full on fix up Remy's obedience. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're gonna have massive construction in the next 2 weeks.
Oh
too.
my God. So let's finish with Remy and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I was saying to GR Dad when we were walking last night, I was like, I have spent so much of my adult life, like really since I went to college, trying to build a home for myself that is a place of peace and calm. And, like there's natural chaos that comes in anybody's life. And certainly when you have this many dogs. But it was not this bad before. And Remy and Voods in particular are not items of peace in my life.
No, they're disruptive, not maliciously, but totally disruptive.
They don't really respect boundaries, and it requires a lot of adjusting of life to manage their chaos, which is not a thing I really want in my life. And it's really upsetting. Like if I reflect on the last certainly 6 months or a year, we got Voods in like a year ago November, and we got Remy in July. Like my quality of life has decreased. And I'm not blaming them. They're both really good dogs, right? Like I love them, but it's not good. The current situation is not good. And there's only so much we can do to kind of get Voods in order. And, Remy, like we need to get his insulin controlled and hopefully get him seeing, but his lack of obedience is really damaging to our life going well. And there's only so much that like I've been able to do. So it's good that we're getting up to a trainer. So yeah, I'm hopeful that, spending some time with a professional trainer who we've seen, with a bunch of dogs can really get them in shape quickly will give us a good foundation with
Remy's really smart. If he knows the rules, he doesn't, but he's never learned. He's like a big puppy.
Yeah. And like, I've tried, right. But there's just so much I can do. And frankly, like managing this whole squad really limits it. And I'm not a professional trainer, right? Like I can take a puppy and like get them to do the basic stuff. We housebroke him very easily, but in terms of the obedience stuff, where it's like Vink starts barking and then Guac starts barking and then Remy starts barking. Like, how do you get them to stop doing that? Right? Like you really need them to be able to quickly hyper focus on you. And that's a thing that I suck at being able to train. I mean, even with like Hops, who is literally a puppy star, trying to get her to train, like stop and look at me and focus on me.
Right.
Is a thing that I'm not great at doing.
Well, and Remy, you just have to do it all orally, right?
Yeah.
Hourly. A-U orally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's right. He doesn't have any visual cues for it, which I use with all the other dogs.
That's right.
Right. But I am confident that Michael can really get him in line. So
he's a good boy.
Yeah.
Guac, you're helping train him, I think. Guac is trying to teach him the ways.
Good job, Guacamine.
Yeah.
So... so that's coming. And then as Jared had said, man, our house is about to get extra chaotic. So I think we said the spalling is going to get fixed. So they have to replace our front steps, and then they're going to replace the back porch, and then they're going to replace the front porch. That's a 3-week project.
So it's almost like all the concrete. It is all the concrete.
Pretty much. I think they're keeping like half the back porch and half the front porch. And then just fixing the outside part, but I don't know.
Depends on how rusted the rebar is in the cement, yeah.
Anyway, and then I got a call today that they're starting the seawall tomorrow. All those rocks in the front yard starting to get moved tomorrow.
And it was good that they gave us a lot of notice.
It does not matter.
I know.
So they're like, can we bring the front loader grabby thing to move the rocks over today, and then we'll start tomorrow? And I was like, yes, please get over here and do it. So that apparently will take 2 weeks. That's just for the seawall. And then they'll also do a dock, but they need like a barge for that. So who knows? Anyway,
there's going to be a barge coming here to unload a dock that they're going to pound into the ground. They're going to
build the dock.
That's cool.
From the barge.
There's going to be a barge out here.
So I don't know I don't know the timeline for the dock, but the seawall will take about 2 weeks and starting tomorrow. So
I mean, I think they're just going to roll all those stones into the ocean.
They're going to move all the rocks, and then they fill in the gaps between the rocks with concrete, and then they're going to raise the backyard up to the level of the rocks because it's down quite a bit. So they're just going to be bringing a ton of
dirt,
gravel, not dirt, gravel and rocks, and hopefully some sand. Hopefully we're getting rid of all the rocks that are so painful to walk on.
Yeah, the contractor said these are like the cheapest kind. They really hurt your feet though.
And we're like, we know. We know.
Vank really knows. Vank like practically tiptoes.
So anyway, that's it's gonna be so much chaos. And we're doing a little staycation this weekend. So the dogs are getting a dog sitter, and we're going 20 miles up the road to just have a couple nights alone. And they're like, the Spalding guys are starting Monday. So I was like, dog sitter, listen, there's going to be guys here on Monday. Like, you don't have to do anything.
Just don't be surprised or scared.
Oh my God. It's going to be a lot of chaos. And I told the Seawall guy today, I'm like, just so you know, the Spalding guys are going to be here. And he's like, if you're going to rip it all up at once. And I was like, yep.
I mean, the biggest will be they're all doing outside work, right? So it won't be the same as it having the bathroom redone or whatever they were doing in the windows, right? But these are our entrances and exits, right? The porches. So that'll be interesting. I better limber up and prepare to carry dogs all around.
It's going to be like just taking them in the elevator is going to be fine. It's when maybe they'll be able to take off the back of the porch and put up like a temporary railing so I can put them in the elevator. But otherwise, you're going to be gone when it's stairs only. And I'm going to have to be like, help them up harnessing at least Voods and CB on the stairs.
Well, that might argue for me taking Voods with me. We should talk about this.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. Though Voods is a pain in the ass in the car because he just sits up and goes, ow.
When he's bored.
Yeah.
Not when he needs to go out, but when needs to be chomped.
You 100% should take Voods with you.
Yeah, Maryland's an easy house for Voods. Yeah.
He loves the Maryland house.
Yeah, he likes the dirt. It tastes delicious.
And he can just walk in and out on that ramp whenever he wants to.
Chomp dirt.
This is a great idea.
There you go. Okay. A little bit more relaxation right now, too.
I do actually feel better.
But I do have images of myself climbing a ladder with dogs on my shoulders.
We should not have to resort to that.
Hank, I'm going to ventilate you.
Oh, my God. All right. So that's dog and house updates. Do you want to do German word of the week or taste of the keys?
German word of the week first.
Okay.
Hang on.
I got to say, I am responsible for finding the German word of the week.
You should be proud of yourself. The German word of the week is a German dad joke.
Papa Witze.
Papa Witz.
Papa Witz.
Papa Witz. Die Tochter sagt, I'm going to read it all in German and then we'll explain. Du Papa, die Intelligenz habe ich von dir. Darauf der Papa. Ach, das freut mich ja sehr, dass du das sagst. Aber wie kommst du denn da drauf? Na, die Mama hat ihre ja noch. So it's, the daughter says to the dad, Dad, I have my intelligence from you.
It's like, I got my intelligence from you.
I got my intelligence from you. And the dad says, well, that makes me very happy that you say that. But, why do you say that? Well, Mom still has hers. So there's the joke. It's better in the original German.
It's not, actually. It's the same in the English.
I think it's good.
Yeah. We do for the Patreons and the super followers, we post usually on Fridays, sometimes on Saturdays, a dad joke video of your dad telling a joke, usually to Guac, one of the dogs, usually to Guac, who just stares unblinking at the camera.
Guac is really good at not showing any expression. Mm-hmm. In fact, he looks dopey half the time. No offense, Guac. You're a beautiful dog.
Papa Witz, dad joke.
Yeah, these used to be like Der kleine Fritz was like the classic kid who would ask these or make these little observations, but now it's much more gender diverse.
Interesting. I found a page I was looking for like, are there dad jokes in German? And I found a whole page called Papa Witz, which just means dad joke. And this one I thought was quite funny. Most of the rest of them go pretty misogynistic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all German humor, it's just 20 years behind.
Like 50 years behind.
Fair enough. Yeah.
60 years behind. Yeah.
Look, there's a reason we watch Monty Python in Germany or The Simpsons or all the American comedy shows are real popular in Germany because they're funny.
Old. But I mean, like one of them was like the kid is like, asked the dad, where's the thing that peels the potatoes? And the dad's like, it's out at the store.
I know.
Like so misogynistic. So I was like, oh, isn't this cute? And then it's not just like there was one kind of misogynistic one. Like there were a bunch that are that kind of like demeaning misogyny. So I would not bother going looking. German jokes generally are not funny. And then some of them, like in this case, can be incredibly offensive.
And not funny.
And also not funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Germans have a problem with humor. They're very philosophical.
No, you're giving yourself too much credit. You're
As
just
a country,
dumb. Your sense of humor is dumb.
Volk der Dichter und Denker. We
No.
have the poets and the thinkers.
Dumb.
We don't have comedians. We're not the folk of the
Oh
comedians.
my God.
That's where the rest of Europe has to come in.
Let's just leave it at that.
America really has to come in. Thank you.
All right. Taste of the Keys this week. Oh my God. Major drama. On New Year's Eve, maybe it was technically New Year's Day. So the southernmost point, we always talk about the southernmost whatever. Key West is the southernmost city in the continental U.S., the southernmost point of the continental U.S. And there's an actual southernmost point in Key West. And it's technically not as far south as you can go in the continental U.S. because there is like a Navy base that goes slightly souther of that on Key West, right? That the public isn't allowed into. Whatever. This is basically the southernmost. I mean, we're talking about matters of feet here.
Whatever.
And there's a big concrete buoy. It's like 10 feet tall and I don't know, maybe 8 feet in diameter at this intersection for the southernmost point, and it's painted with like red and yellow and black stripes, and it says like the southernmost point, Key West. You've probably seen it if you've ever looked at any Key West stuff. You've seen a picture of it. Big tourist attraction. Like the tourists line up there to take their picture next to the buoy, and like the people in line behind you will take your picture. You give them your phone, and it's like a big thing. So New Year's Eve, these two total bros, there's pictures of them. They got like jorts and t-shirts and backwards hats on, like clearly white frat boys, bring an old Christmas tree, and they stick it in front of the southernmost point, and they take selfies with it, and then they fucking light the Christmas tree on fire and burns, it burns in like quite
It's
a
big
conflagration.
fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not a little, fire. It's not a campfire. This is a big bonfire.
This isn't like if you have an old dried up Christmas tree and you drop a match on that thing, it's like whew, the whole thing is on fire. So yeah, there's a big fire, the entire height of the buoy leaping up into the sky from this Christmas tree burning. And when it's done, it has scorched the buoy, which is made of concrete. So the buoy has not burned down, but like the paint job is all messed up and they got to fix it. And they haven't caught the guys yet.
Which is surprising since they have photographs, but I guess not surprising because they're not from Key West, surely, and they
Certainly
have dispersed to somewhere else.
The New York Post, always reliable for extra information that more legitimate journalistic sources won't share, has all the pictures of these guys, like I think captured from a security camera. So they like the other newspapers or whatever, some of them have a picture of the southernmost point damaged after Irma. They're like, the southernmost point was damaged when people set fire to it on New Year's Eve.
Stock photo.
It's like the other side is damaged. I'm like, that's Hurricane Irma paint damage. That's not like the damage from the Christmas trees on the other side. Or they have like one burned photo of it. And the New York Post has pictures of the dudes taking their selfies, a bunch of fire pictures, then the cops showing up after the fire.
Yeah.
So if you want to try to identify these guys, there you go.
The marker. Here's some history of the marker.
Okay, good.
There used to be a marker there because that's where the Atlantic and the
Gulf of
Mexico actually divide. It's the southernmost point, and there used to be a sign saying, southernmost point in the United States, but it got stolen a lot. I think one of the last thefts was apparently by some British Air Force people who were here training with the U.S. Navy. I don't know if they ever admitted it, but anyway, so the marker would get stolen all the time. And so in 1983, someone was hired to, address this issue. And he's like, I was looking around and there's buoys everywhere. Buoys is a good theme. We'll make something that looks like a buoy, but we can't afford a big buoy. We don't have money for that.
Yeah.
So he's like, we'll just make something that looks kind of like a buoy that isn't going anywhere. So this thing is 19.8 tons of concrete.
Wow.
So they just poured a bunch of concrete. It cost $902.
That's good. That's the right price.
Of materials. And they have an article from 1983 with this city manager who's like, we'll just make up. We'll recapture the money with T-shirts or pins or something. We'll get the $902 back somehow. So ever since then, it's been there. There's been graffiti. There's been storm damage sometimes. This fire, but it's not going anywhere. You're not taking a 19-ton buoy replica out of concrete anywhere.
No, and if you did put it in the water, it would just sink to the bottom.
And it's huge. It's very popular.
Yeah.
There's always a line of people to take photos and selfies. I mean, it's a very organized event. I love the line standing. That's very un-European. It's great.
I was gonna say, you wouldn't get that in Europe.
Yeah, but people take their because behind it is the ocean. So if you don't have a bunch of people behind you, you can photograph the ocean along with you and the big marker. So that's what happens. But there's like 20 people in line pretty frequently.
Oh yeah. And then if the cruise ships come in, which we don't like, but if they do, then there's a bunch.
But it's a cool marker, and they're repainting it. I think they've already started repainting it.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah,
that's good.
Yep.
I mean, it shouldn't take that long.
Right. Although interestingly, people probably won't want to take pictures with the burned one more than.
Apparently, like New Year's Day, there were people lined up to take pictures with the burned one.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing too. So you kind of win-win.
Yep.
Guys are still jerks.
Total jerks.
But people will make the best out of. People will make lemonade.
Yeah. And I'll just add in additional unsolved crime news of the Keys. We will soon be recording, maybe tomorrow we'll record our next Murders in Paradise. So there's a guy who went missing. Did he live on our key?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he took his boat out like a week before Thanksgiving and was going out for like a quick kind of zip around.
Yeah.
And never came home. And there's like and they can't find him. So it's sort of, there's a little storm that blew through. Our storms are just like, there's like a cloud and it comes through and the wind gets really high and it rains really hard for like 5 minutes and then it's gone.
That's right.
And there was one of those as he was coming back. And so the guess is that based on like where his phone pinged last time, he was swept out into the Atlantic. And, pure speculation, maybe his boat capsized there and he drowned.
It was a small boat. It wasn't like a big, no,
it was a
ocean-going vessel.
Like a little console boat. He hasn't been seen since then. There have been a ton of searches for him. People have been looking. There's video footage from people who have like surveillance cameras in their backyard that look out onto the water that show him going out. He hasn't been found yet. Jason
tragic.
Heath is his name. Yeah, it's really sad. And his family's tried really hard to get him. And they kind of know like, man, it's been 6 weeks. Nobody has seen him. Nobody has seen his boat. Like, we're not super hopeful. But they have really put together a nice website and a ton of information. And it's very mysterious, right? That he was out in pretty well-traveled areas around here. I mean, he went out into the backcountry of the Keys, but like, that's like a mile from like the main road, maybe 2 miles. And there's tons of pleasure boaters out there all the time. It's, the Keys are pretty shallow. And so it's not like there's a lot of places that you can just drive your boat around and hide. Like there's kind of well-known routes where it's deep enough to take your boat. So it's pretty mysterious. So we're going to talk about his case and, point to the video footage and kind of do the timeline and stuff on our next episode of Murders in Paradise. So...
Which hasn't always been murders anyway.
I was thinking like it probably would be more appropriately titled Mysteries in Paradise because
I like that.
We actually very rarely do murders.
Sure.
And then I was like, but we can't rename it in the middle. And I was like, why the fuck can't we? Like nobody listens to it except people who also listen to the dog podcast and they're fine with whatever we call it. So who knows? Maybe it'll just like quietly rename itself to
I think
Mysteries
that's
in
good.
Paradise.
Everything because the subscribers won't see the difference. They'll still be subscribed, right?
Yeah, I mean a lot of the true crime podcasts do that, right? They do, they'll do ghosts or survivor stories and abductions and whatever, not just murders, but
right.
Anyway, so that will be coming soon.
Oh, here's another thing. Florida is considering taking the Goliath grouper off the restricted list.
Goliath groupers are giant.
Yeah, they get to be giant and they're absolutely protected right now. I don't think you can harvest them at all.
No, totally protected.
And now they're saying it's fine. There are enough of them. I'm against it. I think there's a public comment period for it.
They get like The species has been observed. Oh, hang on. Let me just give you the size. I mean, 800 pounds.
Yeah, they're giant. And
They're like 9 feet long.
nobody needs to hunt them. I'm sure they're older than we are. I mean, come on. Have some
Yeah.
respect, guys.
We've seen them before.
Yeah, underwater.
Yeah, and when we were at Little Palm Island, there was a Goliath grouper like hanging out by the dock. Man, that thing was fucking huge.
Yeah.
37 years. That's how long they live.
And that's what we know, right?
They reach
I mean,
maturity after 6 years. Longevity of 37 years.
you shouldn't be fishing those fish. That takes them 37, 6
The
years to
species has
mature.
been hypothesized to be hermaphrodites, but this is yet to be confirmed.
Well,
That's cool.
it's hard to get them on record about these things. They're very shy.
Anyway, yeah, that sucks. They're super cool and they got a big giant mouth. You're like, wow.
They do have a big mouth,
Yeah.
like the filter on Snapchat. Yep.
Yeah, but they're bigger than you are.
Bigger than me?
Yeah.
They're bigger than Bank then. They could eat Bank.
I mean, they got a big giant mouth. Maybe
Yeah.
they could eat Bink.
Bank could just swim in
Ones
there.
as well.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
I am Bank, your inspector of the mouth.
The Goliath grouper mouth inspector.
Sorry, Bank. She looks a little scared now.
All right. Well, thank you for enduring my weeping, laughing. It's been a tough week, and even though it's just Wednesday, and meep just
Come back with a warrant.
All right. And until next week, get your booster shot. If for some reason you have not been vaxxed, go do it. It's easy. It's fine. You're
Yeah.
gonna be fine.
Unlike voting, get boosters early and often.
I'm gonna vote that way too if you're voting for the right people. And until next week, don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Bye.
Bye.